Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome back to the podcast, the GOAT of all guests, to the TCF podcast. He's the director of morale for your Chicago Cubs. You've seen him a couple times on the Compound podcast with Zach Short, Dylan Meckes, and his best friend, Ian Happ. You can follow him on IG and Twitter at Dom_Frederic. He's our Dom, director of morale. Ladies and gentlemen, Dom Frederic. Dom, how we doing, my man?
Thanks for having me again for the 20th time. It's great to be back. I'm incredibly happy to be here. You guys are the best. I go on a lot of podcasts, and you guys are consistently my favorite. And I'm very thankful to have you all. If Ian's listening, I appreciate him obviously too. But you guys are the OGs. It's been a while. It's like 2 years running, 3 years.
We're officially better than a major leaguer, boys.
One time in my life.
You guys are awesome.
Thanks, man.
That is awesome. But actually, it's probably the saddest time we've ever had to bring you on the podcast. It's all been pretty good since. It's not like the saddest, but it is tough news.
Yeah, it's the most surreal. It's just when you boil it down. I've been kind of talking about it all week. I mean, Theo was morale. Theo lit the fire of the positivity, the future, the forward thinking perspective, that it's going to be better. It's so good. All those different types of things came from Theo, because for me, I really trusted in what he was doing. Granted, did he make some mistakes? Absolutely. Did things go awry? Absolutely. But for the most part, he was the greatest employee in Cubs history. He's one of the greatest employees in MLB history. And I was talking to one of my friends today, and I've just been thinking about it to myself. I was like, and if people take this the wrong way, I totally understand. But I think even if like Rizzo left, I don't think I would feel the way I do the fact that Theo is leaving now. I just think it's a bigger, I don't want to say bigger hole, but just it's like a bigger change when the guy who's been leading your organization, putting the foundation in place, building the culture, all these different aspects that he's done for the Chicago Cubs, it's not the same when a player leaves and you get a new first baseman. And that has nothing. Right. That's nothing against Theo, but it's just my thoughts, man. I mean, you don't see it that often where a GM, president, whatever it may be, walks out and everyone's like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, the positivity that the fan base has shown Theo, the reverence that people have been talking about Theo with is, pretty incredible. And you don't see that often. I think it has a lot to do with what's been going on with the team the last 10 years. And it's been a sad week, but it's been a week to reflect on how lucky we are to watch his work every single day, and hopefully we can continue to build on that.
And like you said at the beginning of your video, we didn't know how it would really feel until it happened, and then it happened, and then we were all very sad.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think I would feel this way, but when the news hits that like Theo's, like there's no more Theo's League. I mean, there is Theo's League, but like Theo's League as a sense of the shtick is done. I mean, Theo's League for me personally, that was the first shirt we put out. That was the first like real thing like I committed to for a shtick, whatever it may be, to kind of like rally people around it. And the fact that he's gone is it's tough news, but again, I'm incredibly thankful, and I'm hoping we can continue to build off what he's done over the 10 years he was here.
So with that being said, Bud, what would you say is Theo's legacy after his 10 illustrious years on the north side? Like, how would you put it into words as to what Theo's legacy in the city of Chicago is going to be?
I mean, I think he's like top 2 greatest executive in Chicago sports history, probably behind Jerry Krause, just because he won 6 championships. Yeah, he's the second best. He's the best in Cubs history. He's the best employee in Cubs history. He's the most impactful employees in MLB history. I'd say for a legacy, he established a culture that hopefully leads to much more winning in the future, and it led to winning while he was there. I think it also. I hope that Jed will learn from Theo's mistakes, because Theo did make mistakes, and hopefully that can be something we build off of in the long term. I think that's something that can absolutely be done, and I'm looking forward for it to happen. But long term, when we think about Theo, it was the change in culture, it was the change in attitude, it was the stopping of the lovable losers, it was all these aspects that we should be grateful for that we didn't have prior to Theo being here. And again, I'm just really thankful. I'm hurt, but at the same time, I feel incredibly lucky to have watched the greatest Cubs employee do his work on a daily basis here in Chicago.
He may be one of the best employees that baseball has ever had.
Absolutely.
And he could be the next commissioner.
That would be awesome.
You know,
That would be awesome.
Potentially. I do think, though, just when you hear him talk, man, he wants one more bite at the apple. I think he wants one more bite in a new city, and I think for him, I think he wants one more rebuild, and he wants the opportunity to show that he can sustain success. And he even said it. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, I really liked the building of the team, but when it came to the maintenance of it, I wasn't as excited for doing it. And potentially he could view his last stop as a place where he sustain, a true 7-year run where you get to the World Series. You like bookend your time there with the World Series at the beginning, World Series at the end, like kind of in Boston, whatever it may be. But I think he wants another bite at the apple. I he wants to be a commissioner, but we'll see what happens. Whatever he does, he's incredibly talented. Whether he goes into politics, I cannot think of a guy I would want leading the charge and being the face of whatever organization you have. And I think every Chicago Cub fan can attest to that. Whenever Theo took the mic, even if it was like the Addison Russell situation, the Aroldis Chapman situation, he spoke with grace. Whether you agreed with him or not, he explained how he was thinking. He was very forthcoming. He was honest. He took the heat. All these different aspects you want in a leader, and he was the absolute, poster child for that. And I appreciate it so much. And I think I hope a lot of people can see what he brought in those aspects outside of simply the ins and outs of creating a team.
Dom, we can speak at length about the 10 years that Theo had here. I mean, like you said, legendary run. The legacy is gonna speak for itself. But what I'm really concerned about is, what does this mean going forward? What's the future for the Cubs? Who's getting dealt? What's your gut feeling on this? What's your magic 8-ball telling you here?
Yeah, so I've purposely tried to stay out of the rumor game because there's a lot going on. Last year was not very fun in terms of the offseason. It just wasn't. And
nope. I
felt like for me, maybe I got sucked in a little too much of like, well, we should trade this guy and that guy, and then people are going to get pissed, whatever it may be. That doesn't mean I don't have an opinion on it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to tweet for every single rumor. In terms of what I think there are guys that are going to be dealt. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris was dealt. That doesn't mean I'm hoping it happens. And
you're being realistic, Dom. You're being realistic.
Exactly. It doesn't mean I'll be jumping for joy, but what it does mean is that if something happens, whether it's a core guy, whether something happens to Schwarber, whatever it is, we've gotten to the point where I will understand it. Am I going to be jumping for joy about it? No. But will I understand it? Yes. And I think that's where a lot of Cubs fans are. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys feel differently, but I feel like I would understand if they made a move to change, diversify, supplement the roster in different ways that show different skill sets that we've that's different than we've seen before. If it's a Chris Bryant that has to go, if it's a Javi Baez that has to go, that would be tough. But you know what? I understand. You can't have a lineup, and I was even talking to Ian about it in the second episode, and he agreed. I mean, credit to him, man. He agreed. You can't have a consistent lineup that where 2, 3, 4, 5, you got guys striking out to 28 to 30%. You can't be successful that way. And you got to be able to diversify the lineup. You got to be able to supplement it. It doesn't mean we can't win with some of the guys on the team, but there has to be instances, and you guys all know, I've talked about it before. Like, if you're going to put the ball in play, you better produce. We've seen Albert Almora, he can put the ball in play, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't get extra bases, if you can't be consistent, if you can't hit the ball in the air, all that stuff that I talked about. But there's times where bases loaded, no outs. I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to be the meatball fan, but you just got to get the ball in play, or at least one of the three guys that are about to come up has to put the ball in play, or has to be able to use a skill set that is critical for that situation. So whether it's the boat being dealt, Chris Bryant, all those guys, whatever it may be, if they're going to supplement the lineup and they have a plan, I will understand it. I'm not going to be jumping up for joy about it, but I'm going to understand.
You're not going anywhere, that's for sure.
I'm not leaving. I'm right here, man.
How did the Cubs not hire you, Dom? Because their social media and all the PR and stuff. How do they not hire you when they hear stuff like that?
One day,
it's a slow build, man.
You know what I mean?
You know what?
You just made a rebuild sound good.
I don't mean to brag about myself. But I've been putting in work for this for 7 years. For 7 years, just slowly built. Do I have the most followers? No. But there's no person out there that has a more loyal and understanding fan base than mine. And you know what? Eventually, someone will finally come around to it. Big leaguers are coming around to it. Ian Happ's coming around to it. Morale athletes are coming around to it. We'll see what happens. I'm open to it. I think I've kind of proven myself that I can actually talk. I think there are a lot of people out there that can't form sentences. No offense, but I can talk, and I can talk about the team. I think you guys have understand that. Consider I've been on your podcast 50 times. If I couldn't talk, you wouldn't keep bringing me on. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll give you a mountaintop to shout from. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen. We're building something here, but I don't know what we're building. We're just stacking just random things, whether it be Schwarber, bad news, morale, whatever it may be. We're building something here, and
keeping it positive.
It's day in, day out. It's all about trying to make people laugh, bring some positivity, trying to make some jokes about the team, whatever it may be. We're just trying to, have people, get a good experience out of it. I don't know. You guys know me. You guys know me pretty well now. I mean, why do you guys follow? You guys, obviously, we have a personal relationship now, but why did you guys start following? Why do you guys continue to follow? You tell me.
Man, and for me personally, it's the fact that all of us have gone through so much as Cubs fan. I mean, we were all there in 2012 with that horrible team, and now there's something to be happy about, and it's good to see someone that that kind of shares that excitement, because I try not to be a Debbie Downer, and sometimes it's hard, but then you always see those positive tweets, and that kind of reminds you, hey, remember in 2012 when we won 54 games or whatever it was? It kind of knocks you back into reality where this is the reality of the situation now. We need to embrace what it is.
Exactly. It puts things into perspective. And I hope, and other people do it too, but I think I always try to put things into perspective. There's always a positive light to be seen. There's always a glass that's half full. And, even if we are going to go into a little rough patch, whatever it may be, I'm not saying that's the case, but we're the Chicago Cubs, man. You just had the Tampa Bay Rays. They just DFA'd Hunter Renfroe, who hit 5th or 6th for them.
Get on that guy.
World Series lineup.
Murders lefties. Absolutely murders lefties. Murders lefties.
I mean, that's and I understand we're in a pandemic, we're in a recession, whatever it may be. But you're talking about a World Series team who just has to DFA a guy because he had a down year in one spot. These are the Chicago Cubs. We're gonna be back. It's gonna be going again. Theo built the culture and the foundation that Judd is gonna learn from and build off of that. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have, a positive attitude or a, positive outlook for the future.
And that's why I started following you. And then I really got going with the positivity. You don't really see that, like I said, from the Cubs social media
can be
PR.
So negative.
It's so negative. And then you show the positivity. And then like I said, when you came on the podcast when we first started, and that just kind of showed you were willing to, come on the podcast with some guys who you didn't know if we knew what we were talking about. And then the friendship, and we talked through Twitter and stuff. And we just figured, the first time he came on, we got done with it. We were like, this guy is saying stats that we have no idea what you're even talking about. Like
I almost ran into a concrete wall after it that first time. I was jacked.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun with you guys, and hopefully I can keep it up. It's a day in, day out thing. I wake up in the morning. I was like, what's the joke going to be today? What's the tweet going to be today? It's like I feel like I have a stand-up set like every day. I'm not a stand-up comedian, but I feel like it's a stand-up set like every day. New jokes, trying new things out, whatever it may be. It's fun.
See, for me though, Dom, I'm going to play the other card here. Is
Okay.
because you're kind of the yin to my yang. Because I'm a cranky old when it comes to Twitter Cubs fan. You know, I grew up in the 80s and the early 90s when the Cubs were not just bad, they were god awful fucking bad. Like they were atrocious bad. They were getting, signing Danny Jackson to free agent contracts and stuff. Mark Grace is your best player. Mark Grace was a fine baseball player. I don't mean to knock that.
Thank you.
But when he's your franchise cornerstone, when other teams are throwing guys like Bonds and some of the other Griffeys and all the other legends of the 90s, like, you knew we were never going to get those guys until Sosa kind of came onto the map in the late 90s. For me, I like it because I can't always be so cranky and pissed off all the time. I need to get some kind of positivity back on the other side to remind me it's not so bad. Because for me, I'm always looking at the glass, the half empty kind of look at it. So that's what I appreciate on it. Plus, like, it seems like certain niche Twitters of, baseball and certain sports, like, it's turned so analytical that all you hear is XFIP and WAR and BABIP and barrels and all this. It's just like, dude, I just want to have like a little bit of fun when it comes to sports too. So that's what I appreciate out of it.
Yeah, and thank you. I'm glad you brought that up because like Zach said, I do appreciate those things, but I feel like
absolutely they serve a place.
Yeah, we're getting to a place now where everyone just wants to be so correct and they want to be so objective. It's like, oh, I told you this, and granted, I do that too, but I try to do it in a sense that's funny. And I try to do it in a sense that's endearing. When everyone's ripping on Kyle Schwarber, I'm like, no, this dude is going to be good. I'm sticking by this guy. And even if the Cubs not tender him this year, I'm going to be riding with that dude until he retires because he's a freaking morale athlete. And if I'm going to put my foot in the ground and say I was right about Kyle Schwarber, I was right about Ian Happ, I was right about bad news, fine. But everyone now wants to be so objective. So, I told you this, and you can't have an opinion because you're biased, and you're a homer, whatever. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. I can't say it enough. That is the whole point.
Thank you.
It's like why I don't get frustrated when White Sox fans are so fired up about their team and they're fired up about their young players, because you know what? They should be, because you're supposed to be excited about your team as a fan. You should be able to come up with whatever sticks, jokes, whatever it may be. And granted,
especially on the climb, though, too. Especially on the climb.
I hear you. Do they chirp a little bit more, at Cubs fans? Fine, whatever. They're little brother. That doesn't matter. The point is that every fan should be excited and should be, should look forward to watching their team play. And if it's biased, if you're a homer, who cares? And it doesn't have to be, everyone doesn't have to be goddamn Jeff Passan and, these analytical writers and Peter Gammons. It's like, just like have fun, make some jokes, and everyone should be fine with it. But for some people, it's like, oh, this dude's so obnoxious. He's so annoying. What, yada, yada, yada. It's like, that's the point, dude. I'm trying to make jokes and have it be a creative outlet for myself and for other people to share along and share their jokes. And that's the whole point.
Don, when's your prospect rankings come out?
I mean, hey, what's the guy's name? What's the outfielder's name? What's
Bijan Rademacher.
The Cubs outfielder, Brennan.
Oh yeah.
I should know this, but
Brennan Davis.
Yes, Brennan Davis.
Yeah.
Brennan Davis.
Actually,
there you go.
I should talk to Dakota about him.
I am excited about Ed Howard. I'm excited about
Ed Howard, Chicago Catholic Leaguer. I mean, we should be excited about all these guys. And listen, man, Jed's gonna get it going. It's Jed's time now. It's Jed's time. He's been kind of, I actually thought it was very interesting. When Theo in his final press conference, he specifically said, over the last year, Jed has really been at the forefront or been more involved than he had been in the past, like the first 5 or 6 years. I thought that was very interesting because, like, Jed was the general manager. Like, he should be in every conversation, right? Like, wouldn't you think? It's kind of a collaborative effort with Theo obviously making the final decision. So there probably is a very good chance that at times Jed may have went a little bit different than Theo. What in terms of Theo making the final decision, Jed might have disagreed at times. So I'm excited for Jed to not only again build off what Theo has done, but learn from Theo's mistakes. See it firsthand. See the ins and outs. See how hard it is to maintain a championship team, like we've seen, and hopefully continue to build from there and move forward with whatever phase or team, whatever it may be for the Cubs franchise moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about most was, what are we getting in Hoyer, and what do you think that he does well that maybe people don't know about?
That's that honestly is a great question. I would say for him, and this potentially could be me having either misinformation or a lack of information, but you are not going to find that many guys who is stepping into a president of baseball operations role. Very similar to David Ross in the sense that he knows the players, he knows what's going on, and he understands the mistakes that have been made throughout this organization over the last 5 years, whether it be truly diving into player development. The fact that they had to overhaul player development last year was not great. That should have been done 3 years prior. The fact that they were making the decisions, drafting these low ceiling, but these, high floor, low ceiling pitchers who didn't throw that hard, and they could just find some guys that could spin it and hit spots, whatever it may be. We saw that doesn't really work because these guys just get teed off in the minor leagues once they get to Double and Triple A. So he's seen that we need actual, velocity in the minor leagues, all these different aspects for us to have this, really strong starting rotation. And obviously in the back end of the bullpen, I mean, the fact that the Cubs don't have enough guys that throw 98, 99, 100, 101. When you see the other teams like the White Sox, they have guys throwing 97, 98, all, those big numbers.
Yeah.
So he's seen that firsthand, and there are not a lot of front office executives that have seen the work happen and then are able to fix those mistakes in the long term. It's often you get a new guy and they make those mistakes and they have to figure it out on their own and they don't know what happened before, whatever it may be. It's just important that everyone understands that with Jed, and obviously he has a ton of experience in his own right. And I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. He's in a unique spot, but in a spot that he can definitely flourish in. And when you're in Chicago and you're going to have one of the higher payrolls in the league, whether it be, maybe not this next year, but in years to come, it's something that you can obviously flourish in, and hopefully he can take advantage of that opportunity.
Absolutely. Don, this question comes from my dad, who's a lifelong Cubs fan, and he wanted me to ask you this. He's retired now, so he's got a lot more time on his hands to read things. The Ricketts family has claimed that they're in a big money hole right now. Do you think that there's any way that saving money on Theo's contract, a tax break in the landmark status changing this week, and the change in size of the minor league, is there any chance that money is going to be used this season on the Cubs in the offseason, players, anything like that?
That's a great question, Boomy. I would not be. So here's what I think. I do not expect major spending, but what I do expect, and I mentioned this in the Compound podcast the last time I was on, when we were talking about econ beforehand, when you take demand and demand shifts left and supply shifts right, you're just going to get a decrease in price. And I'm hoping the fact that there's going to be so many guys that are non-tendered, so many guys that get declined club options, all these players that potentially can supplement the Cubs in a way that they haven't seen before or within the last couple of years. Hopefully that can be the way the Cubs spend. Do I think they're going to go? I would love for them to sign Trevor Bauer. Do I think it's going to happen? No. And with what you're saying, Boomy, I mean, hopefully in the long term, the federal landmark status, national monument, whatever you want to call it, it's actually amazing that we get to watch games at a federal landmark and a national monument. It might as well be the Lincoln Memorial. Literally why it's literally why it's just different here. Anyways, but hopefully in the future that can go to whether it be in expanding on the payroll. But there were some other things too that I think were very fair and again, for the baseball operations, people don't care, but I do hope that whether it be the workers at Wrigley Field, whether it be the organization is very charitable, but for the people that work there ins and outs, like they should receive a pay raise if the Cubs are going to, get all these tax breaks, which is going to add up to tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. Like, yeah, I hope the people who work there every day get better wages, especially after the pandemic, and they get better benefits, whatever it may be. Hopefully the Cubs and the Ricketts family can help those people out, because we can't forget about that, because who knows when fans are going to be back in the stand. So, Boomy, that's a great question. I'll have to dive into that a little bit more. Do I think there's going to be a lot of spending this upcoming year? No. Do I think there should be critical but very tactical spending? There should be, because there's no reason, even if you make big decisions, if you want to get rid of Chris Bryant, if you want to get rid of whatever it is, NL Central's wide open.
Yeah.
St. Louis Cardinals aren't making any moves. The Reds are going to lose Bauer. The Brewers aren't going to make any moves. Come on. I mean, they're getting rid of guys left and right. The NL Central's wide open, and every single season, let's not forget about this, every single season is sacred. And as a fan, as a player, as a team, you have to take every game like it's the last goddamn game you're going to play. Same with the last goddamn season, because literally we could have played no baseball this year. I mean, come on, let's be honest. And the fact that it even happened was pretty special, and we should all be, appreciative of that. But every season is sacred, and the NL Central is so wide open. And if you're the Cubs, sure, you can make some moves, but don't think that you're going to make this big restart, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. And I don't want to hear from any fan that thinks we just have to totally burn it down to the ground. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's not how it works. It's not you rebuild, you have this competitive window, and then you tank it all back. No, that's not how it works. You try to build something sustainable. You try to build a player development base. You try to build a scouting base where you have consistent talent coming up through the organization on a yearly and annual basis. So I know I just went on a tangent right there, but it is not a just burn it down to the ground. Absolutely not. So I'm looking for tactical spending, smart spending that can actually supplement and diversify the roster in ways we have not seen over the past 2 or 3 years.
Tom, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I'm old. Like I said, I've watched the Cubs perpetually rebuild for a long time. There was always a rebuild, and then it was a tear down, and then another one, and then a tear down, and another one.
Absolutely.
And I think you hit the nail on the head when you start talking about rebuild. It doesn't need to be. I'm all in favor. You know what? I'm at the point too. I got the World Series. I saw it. If we need to tear it down and do it again, fine. If that's what Hoyer decides that needs to be done, I'll back him. I'll support it if that's what he feels needs to be done. Mm-hmm. Tell me why, though, a rebuild or rebrand might not be a completely bad thing for the Cubs too, on the flip side.
If you are going to go down that route, if you are going to say, I need to rebuild, I need to rebrand, if you will, I need to totally restart, it's because you see a flaw that cannot be fixed. Because because let's be honest with you, Chris Bryant and Javi Baez are not getting the returns that they should probably get long term. It's just not going to happen. They had awful 60-game seasons. Granted, they were 2-month seasons. Hopefully, GMs from other teams can see that. And I don't want people to take this like I want this to happen. But if you are going to go down that route, you are seeing an issue that cannot be fixed. It cannot be fixed. It's like Jed saying, we cannot win with the personnel we have now, whether it be how they project this team to play in the future, or it's just simply the fact that we just have too many guys that strike out, and we just don't have the consistent, whatever it may be. You might look at bad news and say he's at potentially the peak of his career. Now's the time to deal him. Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Do I subscribe to that type of thinking right now? No, but again, like I said, leading off the show, whatever move is made, I'm going to understand it. And I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to jump for joy. I'm not going to, tweet all this great stuff out. Yeah. If it's a good move, sure. But I'm not going to just be, excited about it just because they did something. It has to make sense. It has to work. And you know what? People aren't thinking about this a lot. The whole qualifying offer is going to totally change this year. You saw Marcus Stroman take the qualifying offer for the Mets. That's going to absolutely be a thing in the future, especially if the free agency market is suppressed like everyone thinks it's going to be. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of qualifying offers going out after this year. If the Cubs keep a lot of guys, they play pretty well, but the market still hasn't come back to where it needs to be. You never know, man. And you know what? If you're a player and you can take a quick 18 million for 1 year, 19 million, whatever it is, a lot of guys are going to sign up for that, especially in the times we're in right now. I mean, think about Javi. He's probably got to be kicking himself. Chris Bryant kicking himself that he didn't take a long-term extension, whatever it may be, because most likely, I mean, I hate to say it, they're never going to see that money again.
Yeah.
They just won't. Chris Bryant, I hate to say it, is never going to see $200 million. He just won't.
Or 30 a year, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way. There's no way. I hate to be that blunt about it, but he's just not. I'm sorry, he's just not. And I believe in the guy. I think long term, I still think he can be a critical piece for the team. Is he an MVP candidate? Is he a Christian Yelich? Is he who's one of the really best? Is he a Freddie Freeman? I'd probably say no, but he's the tier right below that when he's right. And even if he's not right, he's really close to that. So, listen, man, I'm looking forward to see what happens, and I trust Jed in whatever decision he makes. And we're just gonna hang in the balance. I'm not gonna over speculate. I'm not gonna tweet out rumors, whatever it may be, because last year was brutal in the offseason. Everyone was pissed off at one another, and I really don't want to do that again.
Well, speaking of the 2021 season, we're going to be going into that with COVID still going on, most likely. So do you think that there's any way that we'll have fans at this national landmark? And
Federal landmark.
Oh, yeah, federal landmark.
Yeah.
What will be the difference between 21 and hopefully 20 is hopefully a longer season?
Man, I hope they can play 162 games. I really do. I mean, hopefully we can figure out a vaccine. Probably, I don't know. This topic may be a little too broad or political, whatever you want to call it. I hope we can just get more on the same page as a country, right? And so we can start to move forward with the things we've grown accustomed to. And I don't mean to bring up those aspects of our society right now, but it's true. If we can't come to agreements on simple things like wearing a mask or distancing or trying to keep each other safe in the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu 100 years ago, we have a lot bigger fish to fry than 40,000 coming into the seat. So I hope, Zach, I really do. I think this organization needs it. The fans need it. A lot of people need it for their mental health. Man, you know what? That's one thing I've learned so much about Cubs fans. It's that, and again, I know I said it's just different here, man. You got people here who, I might have talked about it last time I was on this podcast. Maybe it was on a different one, but there are so many people out here that just like, you know what? They aren't going to live anywhere besides a three block radius outside of Wrigley Field, because that's how much it means to them to be around the team, to be around the stadium, to be in that atmosphere that is Cubs baseball. These people that don't make a lot of money, but they save up tooth and nail so they could, pay for the season tickets every year, and they can, change their lifestyle around so they can go to the games, whether it be good games or bad games, whatever it is. And that's important to people, man. And it does, and what I'm trying to say is not, let's just bypass everything and just forget all the safety protocols because people need it for their mental health. we need to be doing both. We need to be keeping people safe, but also doing it for the future where people can get back to their normal lives. So I don't know. I hope that's the case. I really hope we can get fans back in Wrigley. I do think we should have 162 games because maybe we have the season pushed back a little bit. Maybe spring training is a little bit different. Maybe spring training really doesn't happen. It's just a very short spring training, kind of like it was this year, to keep teams safe. But we'll see. I'm excited about it. For next year, and say what you will about Rob Manfred. He shouldn't be the commissioner of Major League Baseball, but somehow, some way, he made this season work, and we should be appreciative of that.
Hey, I'm in favor of one concept that I kind of heard bandied about was like regionalized scheduling.
Yeah.
Getting when you're on a road trip and you just hit as many of those teams in that area as you can, so you're not traveling the longer distances. You can kind of stay in some of the same hotels more, for longer stretches, things like that. I think it's one way to get maximize the amount of games. May have to do some of the 7-inning doubleheaders too, and I didn't hate that.
Yeah, I
like those. I know it's sacrilegious, for kind of a baseball purist aspect, but I didn't hate that. The 7-inning doubleheader was kind of cool.
I liked it too, and I know, if people feel differently, I understand, but I liked it too. I like the extra inning rule. I was talking to Ian about that. He liked it. It brings a different dynamic to the game. Listen, man, like I understand the baseball purists. I get it. I like the original game too, but there's something. It's fun. You had 9 innings to score, and if you can't do it, we should have to continue to watch it. It's got to be game on the line, last shot, whatever it is. Like there's a guy on second. All right, get him in. That's fun, and it was a different dynamic that we hadn't seen before. And I love the extra the 7-inning doubleheaders. It was quick, man. Got to get to the point. We got to be able to modernize the game. It's still baseball. It's not like they're hitting it off a tee. It's still baseball.
That would be kind of sweet, though.
Yeah, it's fun. And for all the people, the historical stats, just just shut up. I get it. You want to. I love Sammy Sosa too. He's got the 609 home runs, and hopefully that whatever the record doesn't get broken. If it does, hopefully it's by a cup. But you know what? You're still watching baseball. These guys are getting paid a ton of money, and for one time, can we just be a little bit more progressive in the game? And I thought this year the league did a good job with that, having the DH in the National League, the extra innings, the double headers, whatever it may be.
I wish that would stay.
Relax the social media stuff.
I think it is.
Let people share your product for free.
Relax.
Let people share it, dude.
Dude,
it's unbelievable. Let people share your product. It's insanity.
Oh my God, it's frustrating, and somehow, some way, I feel like I've gotten around it. I don't know how I have. But,
you and Pitching Ninja.
Yeah, for somehow I've gotten around it. I actually, on the last video I made, that was the first time I actually looked up like non-copyrighted music, because I was like, I don't want to, whatever, get a strike on the whole deal. You guys understand, but yeah, I don't know. I agree. Yeah, we got to be more progressive in the game. We have to be able to think more of the outside the box ideas, and that that's what Theo was talking about the other day. He was like, I feel like I can really help this organization come up with, or not the organization, the industry come up with ways to modernize the game, to not have instances where we are striking out 27 times a game, all that type of stuff that makes it more enjoyable for the fans. We'll see. But I think we did make a step in the right direction. Some people might disagree, but I believe the game took a step in the right direction in terms of modernizing it and coming with more progressive ideas.
I got one more, Dom. Recently in our favorite platform of Twitter, an unnamed baseball prospectus contributor said the guy who ended a 108-year World Series drought is a failure. Yeah. Can we discuss that sentiment a little bit while we have you here?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Matt. It's that one was mind blowing to me, and you know what? It just ate at me too.
For sure, I'm with you.
That someone can have to say that they're a Cubs fan, to have Wrigley Field in their cover profile photo, whatever it's called, and then have the nerve to say that about Theo Epstein, and then at the same time come back and retweet the "Thank You Theo" video made by the Chicago.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to do that? To say that? The blasphemy that, you know what? And I'm trying. I am trying harder, more than I ever had before, to try to be a little less mean to people. I'm trying to be a little bit more I don't want to say persuasive, but I'm trying to challenge the way I go after people, and I'm not going to try to be as divisive as I maybe was in younger years. But the fact that he had the nerve to do that just show that was just, I mean, you know what? He might be a nice guy, but that move was just the worst. It was just the worst. The fact that you had the balls to do that and feel like people are going to respect you for that is it's what I don't subscribe to. No Wilbons. I mean, I've been saying it for years. That's just a Wilbon move. It's just a Wilbon move. What a Wilbon is, what a tent is someone who will, out of left field and with no basis behind it, and have a objectively wrong opinion, criticize a team to no end. But when it's convenient, they will hop back on that bandwagon to show that they were always there, that they were always committed, that they were always dialed in. And those are the Wilbons. Those are the tents. When there's one instance of inconvenience, they fold like a Colorado mountain style tent that you post up in Montana when you're backpacking with your family and your 7-year-olds. That is the stuff that drives me absolutely crazy. It is PTI. It is Michael Wilbon. It is Tony Kornheiser, and I can't stand it. It's things like that for me, it will be always consistent with my Twitter. And you know what, John Greenberg, how soft do you have to be? I received your own worst. Your own tweet ripping on Theo's league. He'd been doing it for years. For years, he was ripping on Theo's league. For years.
Got the hat on right now.
In the weeds. I was just sitting there. I'll say, okay, you keep doing that. Let's see what happens when he leaves. And what happens when he leaves? They write 50 articles about Theo's gone, the Theo era, the legend of Cubs baseball. Shut your mouth. The blasphemy, the convenience to hop from one side to the other is absolutely sickening, and I cannot stand it. And the fact that someone calls you out and you immediately block them is soft. Christian Yelich has thicker skin than you are. I go after that guy nonstop, and you know what? He still hasn't blocked me. Does he have me muted? Maybe, but you know what? That's not the point. The point is that sometimes you got to be able to take a joke. Sometimes you got to be able to take a little criticism. And granted, are there people that I have blocked? Yes, but that was for like actual messed up reasons. People that would not stop just saying very rude things to me. That's when I put the block button on. But the fact that you block someone for simply posting your receipt is absolutely blasphemous. And I cannot stand it. And you know what? I will, until I retire from this goddamn app, from this goddamn social media app, I will always out the Wilbons. And you know what? If they're not going to like it, they're going to have to deal with it, because I have a list. I keep my receipts. I don't forget. I don't waver. I don't apologize. I'm sorry. It's just a fact. And if you can't deal with that, if you're going to be that soft, if you're going to be that much of a tent, then get out of my face, and I will call you out for it until the end of time, until I retire. I will do it, and you're just going to have to deal with it, because you're wrong. The fact that you're going off on Theo, you're ripping on Theo's league, and then you come back and just say, oh, look, he was one of the greatest execs, and yada, yada, yada. Shut your mouth. The real fans know that you were not sticking up for this team. That's why I hate mainstream media so much. You can tell I'm fired up right now. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand the objective nature that people have to feel like they're going to go on because they're so self-righteous and you can't cheer from the media box. I cannot stand it. And there's people like John Greenberg, Paul Sullivan, Rick Morrissey. The list goes on that just makes my goddamn blood boil. I haven't gone on a rant
It's the Norman Rockwell of baseball. It's the Norman Rockwell of baseball, man.
I just cannot stand it. Zach, You gotta post that rant on Twitter because that was.
That will.
And especially with that, his whole basis of his Twitter is he makes a joke about everything.
Yeah, and that
Can dish it out, but he can't take it.
Because I say it all the time. I'm a walking receipt. Like
Yeah,
no bigger.
You need to realize this.
I am the walking receipt, and you know what? Like. I say Cubs and 4 all the time. Theo's League all the time. Does it backfire? Absolutely. But that's the point. It's not a joke. It's just a mindset. It's just it's a shtick. Whatever it may be, I'm just positive about the team. And the one time that you can't even have the balls. You can't even take your own joke. You can't even take your own receipt. When people do it to you, you just automatically block them. Soft. Christian Yelich has more tougher skin than you do, and it drives me absolutely crazy. It's too bad. There's people like that just can't take any type of heat. Whatever, it is what it is.
They got to hide behind the paywall over there, man.
They got to hide behind the paywall. And, and I'm not even trying to rip on the Athletic. They do a good job.
They do a good job.
The point is that you're going to be that soft. And I wasn't even going at them that hard. I was just pointing out the receipt. That's all it was. Anyways, just tense, man. Will Bonds, man. They're going to be there forever. They're going to be
no off season. No off season for Dom.
No off season. No, I've never had an off season. It's 365 days a year, Zach. Dialed in, dude. There's no baseball right now. I'm dialed in. I'm thinking about jokes, chicks. Listen, man. I was telling you before. It's challenging for me to get excited for Chicago Bear football, for college football. I'm dialed into the goddamn Chicago Cubs in my golfing game. That's it.
Someone find me a wall.
That's it, man. That's it.
All I got down here is concrete, so I'm going to make sure I try to stay away from that.
Yeah, I'm in the basement. I'm going to have to go the Kool-Aid man here.
Concrete is thicker than water.
Concrete's thicker than water.
Absolutely beautiful. Well, no matter who's in charge for the Cubs, we're going to put our hard hats on and we're going to follow. So, Dom, keep doing you're doing the Lord's work, man. That's for sure.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I cannot thank you all enough for giving me the opportunity to come on here and rant. And I genuinely appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, and like I always say, whenever you need me, just let me know. We got to go golfing soon, by the way.
We will go golfing.
We got to do that. We
got to go golfing soon.
We need, though. Unfortunately, the warm weather is going away.
Dude, Zach, I'm playing tomorrow morning. It's going to be 40 degrees, and I cannot be more excited about it.
That does sound awesome.
Zach, you know where I am right now? Zach,
where are you?
I am right now? I'm outside of a driving range right now. I'm sitting in my car. I'm outside of a driving range right now.
The grind is real.
I'm sitting outside of my car at a driving range. And after this, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go hit balls.
Do you sleep?
I try. But not when I have work to do.
Sleep when we're dead. We sleep when we're dead, right, Dom?
Exactly. I have work to do right now.
Hey, man.
Make
sure that you follow Dom on Twitter and Instagram at Dom_Frederic. Like you said, Black Friday sale coming up. Me and Zach. Matt, do you have any morale shirts? I think you do, don't you?
I've got one. My wife's got two. She's got the nurse one too. She wants the nurse the Heroes one back that you did for Northwestern.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a hospital system she works for too. So that one was big for her.
Yeah, no, I remember you telling me. Yes, thank you again for supporting you guys. You all are the best. Zach, can you send me You need to send me a link or whatever, your address, so I can send you guys.
I will do that. I will do that right after we get done with this. You do that
already?
I will do it.
All right, because I've been saying this for a while.
I'll try and not move.
Oh, yeah, because you moved.
Yeah.
You got a house.
Well, make sure that you follow him. I don't know if you're not following Dom on Twitter by now. I don't know what you're doing with your life, but at Dom_Frederic, Twitter and Instagram. As always, Dom, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. The microphone is always open, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. It's always fun. Thank you.
Thanks, man.